name is Josh Rubenstein, and today I will be doing a presentation on modern EDM and Euro racks. Before we get started, I thought I'd shed some light on what these two things are. EDMs is an acronym for electronic dance music, which was a genre of music which became popular in the late 1980s. And Eurorack is a modular synthesizer format created in 1996 by
Do for Musik Elektronik.
I'll get into both of these later on in my presentation. But before we talk about any of that, I think we should talk about the history of modular synthesizers and electronic dance music. So I wouldn't say it all began in 1753, but in 1753 there was the first recorded potential electric instrument, which was the Denise Door keyboard by
Václav Prokop Diviš.
Now, this is actually kind of controversial because, as you can see in the picture down here, there's really not much evidence of electricity being used, or that electricity is the primary component in this instrument. Some people considered it just to be a string instrument. So some may say that it starts here, and some may say that it doesn't. It really started in 1937 to 1940 when Harold Bode, who is considered the pioneer of electronic instruments, created the Warbow format organ. And this organ would be the first mass-produced polyphonic, which means able to play multiple independent melody lines at once. It was the first polyphonic electronic instrument to be mass-produced. And then 3 years later, he would go on to create the Hohner Multimanica, which is a much smaller, more sleek model. As you can see, this is the first model, the Warbow format organ. And then over here, this is the Hohner Multimanica. Now, as you can see by these two here, they're essentially the keyboards. And the thing about keyboards is that they have a limited amount of notes to pick from. There's really only a certain amount of notes that you could, play. And there were a lot of artists who wanted much more notes, tunes, and different sounds to use, but these things were kind of limited in how much sound they could create. So in 1964, the first modular synthesizers were created, and then from 1964 to 1980, they were improved upon. Some examples of this are the Moog. The Moog is this machine right here, which was created in 1964 and is the first commercialized synthesizer. And then later on, the TR-808, or simply known as the A08, was created in 1980. And it was the first drum machine to allow users to program rhythms. And that's this machine right here. So as you can see, these two machines right here, they allowed the artist or person using them to create almost an infinite amount of different notes and sounds and whatever they wanted. So then in the late 1980s, thanks to these machines being on the rise, EDM emerged, or electronic dance music. It became very popular in nightclubs, raves, and festivals, and modular synthesizers, or synths as they were called, were widely used by DJs and artists alike, and they became very popular, especially with EDM. Today, EDM is still created and enjoyed by many, including myself. I haven't created any EDM music, but I enjoy it greatly. One of my favorite genres. And then in 1996 to now, the Eurorack format was specified and became the dominant hardware format of modular synthesizers. It was the base model for companies to produce. It was like a standard, essentially. Yeah, even today, hundreds of manufacturers are creating and updating modules for the Eurorack synthesizers and the artists who use them. Here is an example of a Eurorack synthesizer. As you can see, there's all these different buttons, levers, and knobs. I'll get into all these different things in a second. I just wanted to quickly mention some EDM artists. Some very popular EDM artists were Giorgio and Daft Punk. They actually collaborated, and I'll be playing one of their songs in a little bit. There was Skrillex, and then there was Marshmello. Now I'll get into how module synthesizers work. Now, this is where it gets kind of technical because no two Eurorack synthesizers are the same. They all greatly vary between each other, but at its core, it is in total a machine that converts electric voltage into sounds. What types of sounds and how many different types of sounds is completely based on how big it is, what types of modules it involves, all that kind of stuff. So first I'll get into the modules. Each synthesizer has, you can see here, there's a box here, a box there. These are all called modules. And each module serves a different purpose. They're all unique and they all serve a different purpose. There are two very common modules. One is, I guess you could say, the base of, or is like the most basic module. It is the noise generator. Its job is to essentially, when given a power source, create a single monotone sound based on what parameters you put in. And then there are envelopes, which can then manipulate and play around with the sound if connected to a noise generator and a power source. And you're probably wondering how each of these modules gets its power source, or how it gets connected to a different module. That's where patch cables come in. Now, these are patch cables right here. They run from module to module to power source, all that. So their job is essentially, like I said, to complete the circuit to different modules and to the main output. Completing the circuit to the main output, like for example, a noise generator to the main output, would create a single monotone sound, or based on what the voltage is, it'll create a single monotone sound. And completing a circuit to another module, then the main output would add on to that sound, or manipulate the sound, make it sound more musical and less just one monotone note. And it depends on the module, like whatever module you hook up to, it will manipulate the sound in a different way. And each module, depending on what it is, has switches and sliders on it. And all of these switches and sliders have a different purpose based on the module. A lot of this is just based on what modules you have in there. But the most common use of them is to change the frequency and the volume of each sound. So example, if we'll go back to the noise generator again. Let's just say this box is a noise generator. May not be, but I'm just going to use it as an example. So you would essentially hook up a patch cable here, and then over to the power source, wherever that may be, and you would start getting hearing just a single monotone note. And then you would use this slider over here. You would start like turning it clockwise, and the note will start to get higher. That's you changing the frequency. It would start to get higher and higher, higher. You turn it back, it's lower, lower, lower. Then there are other modules that you can hook it up to that have sliders in which you turn it up, it makes the note louder but keeps the frequency the same, or if you turn it down, it just makes it more quiet. There are other ones that like cause delays in sound, cause rhythms, beats, but it's a really, you can get very technical with it, get very complicated with it. There are infinite amounts of possibilities with these things, and if you want to learn more about them, I actually have a video that I'll post it below this video. That is a tutorial video on how to actually use a modular synthesizer. And here's an example of electrical components inside the modular synthesizer, so it gets really technical. And now I guess I'll show you how modular synthesizers work, how they look in action with a DJ behind it and everything. The one video I'll be showing you is a recreation of Giorgio by modular. This was the Daft Punk Giorgio collaboration, and this is a recreation, obviously. So the person who made this, he was basically just a guy who bought a bunch of modules and created a Eurorack synthesizer in his room. In the description of the video, he actually says that it actually took him like a year or two to build and program it for this specific song. And if you watch the video, you'll actually see him playing with the knobs and playing with the keyboard to change the sound output of each voltage. So I'll just show you the video right now. Alright, so yeah, that was the video. As you could see, he would constantly change and play around with each of the sliders, and that was just to help manipulate the notes. And if you actually listen closely to the entire song itself, you could hear each and every note created by a specific voltage in it, and you could hear its change in amplitude and volume, and you can hear it swing. You can just all different types of manipulations. There's, like I said, there's infinite amount of possibilities with it. And these links below, I'll actually be posting them below this video. This is the tutorial I was talking about. This video is almost an hour long, but it's a module synthesizer performance to show the capabilities of a module synthesizer. The one in this video is much more big, much more complicated. It has cables absolutely everywhere, patch cables just spaghettied everywhere. It's incredible to look at. Very cool. Thought I'd show it, but it's too long for this video, so I'll just post it below. And if you want to listen to the original Giorgio by Mordaire by Daft Punk, that's this video right here. I didn't use this video because it didn't actually have a module synthesizer in it, like showing it off. It was just a music video. This is the one that actually had someone using the module synthesizer. What's my personal take on Euroracks and EDM? Personally, I found this to be incredibly fascinating and just amazing all around. In fact, this picture right here that I used, you can see how big and how complex a modular synthesizer can get. And it's just baffling to me how, like, all the different possibilities that can be created, all the music that just comes from these boxes with electrical components in it. It's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was my presentation on Euroracks and EDM. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.